Where's that taxi when you need one? Oh my gosh, sir, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Can we take you to the hospital?
No, not me that. Can you take me to this address?
Yeah, okay. Hold on. Hey, wait, we need him to take... Hey, can you take him here?
Get in.
What? Oh, you guys are all the authors are in EJ's class! Oh, I have so many questions to ask you guys. You guys are like the greatest authors in the American literary canon.
There's no way in hell I'm going to answer any of your questions. I'm thinking of what I'm going to write next.
It's chill. Sunrises Rises wasn't even a good book anyway.
Nonsense. All of us will answer your questions.
Wait a sec. You're TC Boyle, right? Oh, I'm sorry about hitting you earlier.
Yes, I am. I was on my way to USC to think about my writing, but you had to disturb me. Now let's answer these questions.
Well, first off, Fitzgerald, what's up with Gatsby and Daisy? And is there a metaphor for the green light?
It had to do with how far Daisy was away from Gatsby, and the color green represented all the money that Gatsby had and how it disrupted all of his relationships with his companions.
Yep, I definitely got that wrong in the essay question. Well, I mean, but why else did you have to kill Gatsby? I mean, he was a really great guy, and he threw some fatty ragers.
Well, Gatsby dies to prove that no one really cared for him, and they were only there for the parties, and it proved Nick's point that everyone in the city was heartless.
Thanks, man. What was the significance of the color yellow?
Well, yellow represented the fakeness of the people in the city and how money can transform you sometimes into something that you're not.
Yo, Boyle, you awake?
Yeah, I'm here. You have any questions for me, Mr. Davies?
How do you know my last name?
I've been lurking around lately.
Okay. Well then, what do the animals represent in your book?
Yes, Mr. Davies, that's an easy one. The animals in the book represent how people care about house pets more than others.
What about the coyotes?
Well, the coyotes in the fence represent how people like Candido are trying to enter the community.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really read your book that much. Can you fill me on what happened a little bit from your side of the story?
I wanted to cover the racism in the Latino community and how it affects everybody's lives.
Wow, Boyle, that's some deep stuff. Is there anything else?
Well, I'll answer with a quote. Kyra sips her coffee and washes it down with 12 separate vitamins and minerals with a glass of orange juice. Wow, Candido and America resort to eating wild birds, and later, a pet cat to survive.
Okay, so this is just contrasting the poor lives of Candido and America compared to the rich lives of Delaney and Kyra.
That's correct, Davies. Do you have anything else to enlighten us about EJ's class?
Well, yeah. Just recently we watched Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf by Edward Albee.
Wow, that's interesting. Do you have anything else to say about the play?
Well, it was definitely a confusing and repetitive play. But I think it was about the public marriage and the private marriage. On the surface, a typical marriage can look good and healthy. But as you start to dissect into a relationship, you can see the true faults and hardships.
Well, Davies, that can be related in my book as well.
Yeah, definitely. Gatsby on the surface looks like some rich dude who's possibly careless and arrogant. But scoping deeper into the meaning of Gatsby, we see that he's actually a caring man and he only wants to achieve one single goal, Daisy.
Anything else you have to say on Albee's play?
Yeah. On the surface, some couples like to portray themselves as decently happy couples. But not only do they portray their image to their friends, families, and strangers, but to themselves as well. Martha and George have their hardships, and that's why they portray themselves the way they do.
Hey Salinger, care to enlighten us about the Catcher in the Rye?
For Christ's sake, I use my character Holden for him to discover the ugliness in the world and how it is uncured. Not only does he find ugliness in the other characters, he finds the same phoniness in himself. This is why he is always criticizing other people. It's to make up for the faults he finds with himself.
So, what's up with Phoebe? Can you expound on her character, please?
Well, Davies, it's easy. Phoebe represents the barrier between the adult world and the younger and more innocent world, which Phoebe lives in. Holden wants to remain pure, but on the other hand, Phoebe understands that growing up is a part of life and doesn't really sympathize with Holden.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. That's kind of what I wrote in my essay. I characterize Holden as an excluded kid that is almost shunned from the world. I also noted that the cap he wears is to show his defense against the world and his desire to stay pure and uncorrupted.
EJ told me you started reading The Sun Also Rises. Is that true?
We sure did. Hemingway, care to explain?
Of course I can, old chap. Jake Barnes chases Lady Britt Ashley, who has a controlling force over any man. She is spontaneous, attractive, and enticing. She prefers to be independent throughout the book, even if it affects her in a negative way. Negatively affected, Brett still won't commit to any one guy.
What about Cone? He seems like an important character.
Well, he is pretty much of an outsider that suffers from anxiety, and he took up boxing to combat his feelings, diffidence, and self-consciousness. That is why he was so attached to Brett and scared of her rejection.
Hear about Death of a Salesman. Arthur, can you care to explain?
Sure will, Davies. Well, I can tell you that I chose Willie Loman as the name because he himself is a low man. He wants his boys to become something that he has failed in life. As a salesman, the only real thing that he actually sells is himself due to his suicide.
What about Happy?
Well, Happy resembles the negative and rather darker side of Willie. He acts as the failed American dream in a sense. This is seen when he showcases himself as the assistant buyer, but in reality he is the assistant for the assistant buyer. He is the complete opposite of Biff, who on the other hand wants to seek the truth rather than live with lies.
Okay. Yeah. Alright, I'll tell him. Alright, later. Deuces. Alright, Kyle, I just got off the phone with EJ. He said you have a banana fish essay due tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I already wrote that. It's about Muriel's husband, Seymour, how he's like he resembles a banana fish, I think. Is that right, Salinger?
For the most part. Can you expand a little?
Yeah. Sure. Seymour is an unsociable man that drifts away from the public. Seymour, in fact, relates more with children than adults, because they are, again, more pure and innocent. This can be related back to Catcher. When Muriel socializes, Seymour drifts away and plays the piano with another kid.
True. I also made Seymour more paler than the other characters to show their true differences among them.
You know, when I was reading your book, I thought it was a little bit weird with the relationship of Seymour and Sybil. I find it strange that Seymour will take his clothes off in front of Sybil, but not his own wife. He also interacts with Sybil physically and even kisses her on the foot.
Yeah, his convivial attitude with Sybil is to reinforce his desire to drift away from the adult world, just as seen as Catcher in the Rye. I also made their names similar to show that Seymour can be seen as a kid in adult form. Also, Sybil's ability to see the fictional banana fish shows that she is on the same level as Seymour.
Wow, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, it is. Do you want to know about my other book, Teddy?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Alright. Well, I made Teddy believe in reincarnation to show that he, like Seymour and Holden, wants to achieve a sense of innocence. The fact that he said he was a spiritual man in India shows that his life and previous lives he is innocent. Teddy is on another level of intellect as well. Also, this is seen when he is looking through the porthole on the boat rather than sleeping on the bed with his family. The whole time he is constantly thinking of other things that most people are not.